Hey there, today we are talking about letter sounds. This video is part of a series of teaching children to read, so check out the other videos in this series, but today we're going to focus on the foundation of what sound each letter makes. And when we break this down, we're going to talk about teaching a child to hear what actually makes this sound. Like with elephant, an elephant doesn't make the eh sound. Yeah, the word elephant starts with the eh sound for E, but an elephant doesn't do that. So the words that we're going to use are what actually makes that sound, okay? So for like C, it's a cracking egg. So what I want your focus to be on is what actually makes that sound. The child is going to actually listen. We're going to get out an egg and we're going to crack it the first time that you are introducing the C sound so that they hear it go k, k, k. We're going to get out and experience all of these things so that the child is having a fully sensory experience of touching, feeling, doing, hearing, especially that thing make that letter sound. All right, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to explain each one to you, so that will take a little longer, but then you can always go through in the video. I'll show you the time here at what point to go, and you can forward through and get them really quickly. I'll just go through and say each letter and repeat what I'm doing so that you can get it quickly for a reminder later. All right. So, and also we're just going to have each letter make one sound. We're not going to say A says ah and A also says the A sound. When we introduce them the first time through, every letter, we're just doing the short vowels. We're just doing G says G, not also J. We're going to introduce one sound for each letter the first time we introduce it to the kids, and then later, because we don't need to confuse the 4 children. They're learning how to read, for crying out loud. There's enough confusion. All right, so one sound for each letter when we're initially introducing this. Most of these came from this book that I like to use that I got introduced at the preschool that I work at. And so a lot of these come from that. Some of them I made up because I didn't like the ones in the book. And then a couple were on Letter Factory. But, you know, coincidentally, some of them that I made up and some in the book are in Letter Factory. There's overlap there. But just to give credit, this is where most of them come from if you want to look up this book. And of course, you're welcome to make up some of your own too if you're like, that doesn't make that sound. Some of these, I seriously sat there and practiced, and I listened to a zipper. I listened to these different things. Do I hear that? So this is, you know, you can make this your own. So for the letter A, I surprise them somehow. And when we're surprised, we go, ah! And then each one of these is going to have a visual reminder for it. So later when I am reminding them and I'm saying, what does the letter A say? And if they're like, I don't know, and I go like this, then they'll be like, oh yeah, ah. So these visuals are really great reminders to help them remember how to do that sound. We're helping really build this concretely in their memory until we can build on doing it without these visual reminders. So the letter A, I'm surprising them, ah, when they're first surprised. And so I might really like surprise them and be like, oh, were you surprised? What sound do you make when you're surprised? Letter A says ah. Letter B, you might even get a stethoscope if you have access to it and have the children listen to a heartbeat, because B, I'm also going to use the sign language for each letter. The letter B, I'm not going to tell them why, because that will just maybe confuse them, but later I might say, and do you remember when we did the B, we went like this? This is a sign language for letter B. So I'll go letter B and I'll have them touch their heart and go buh, buh, buh. And remember, it doesn't go bah. We don't drop the chin. Buh, buh, buh. Letter C, we actually pick up an egg and we crack it that first time. And then every time I'm reminding them, I'm holding 2 C's. And so I show them, pick it up. K, k, k. Letter D, I'm holding 2 D's like in sign language. These are my drumsticks. So a drum makes the d, d, d sound, not da, d, d, d sound. Letter E, we're opening a squeaky door. So we hold up the door handle and we pull it open and it goes eh. Letter F, I put a feather on my fingers and I'm blowing a fast fan. The fan makes the letter F sound. Letter G, so I'm actually going to have them drink grape juice, okay? So have them put their hands so they actually feel their throat making this sound. And we'll go g, 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 g. When we drink the grape juice, letter G, G. Letter H, we're running, and I actually have the kids run so that they get their heart rate up. And so after they run, when they're tired, they go, so this is my action. Letter I, when I'm scratching and something is itchy for me, go, eh, 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 eh. Letter J, I'm going to be outside weeding and the ground is all muddy. This one, you might just have to use your imagination. But so when I pull a wet weed out of the wet ground, it goes j, j. Letter K, so this time it makes the same sound as the letter C. So we're also cracking an egg. My visual's a little different. I'm holding up the K for sign language just so that they know it's different. Crack my egg. K, k, k. Letter L. So we are making cookies and it is so much fun to make cookies. And when you're making cookies with a grown-up, you might get out your mixer and the mixer makes the sound that the L makes. Oh. Letter M, those cookies are ready and I have each child picture their favorite cookie and they tell me about it. What does it taste like? What color is it? Picture what it tastes like. And so they take a bite of that yummy cookie and it tastes good. So this is the action, rubbing the belly. And really get into it visually. You picture how, your face would just make when you go, And you're riding a scooter. You might think of one of those electronic scooters. And I've even had in carpool, this 13-year-old boy was like, look, those kids are riding scooters. So it's things that kids really make that noise. So for the letter N, and this book also tells you where to put your tongue or your lips or your teeth when making the letter sound. So put your tongue behind your top teeth. Letter O, try to get them to yawn. Because you make the O sound when you yawn. Oh. Letter P. And it's not just raining. You got to picture having an umbrella out because the sound the rain makes when it falls on an umbrella goes. So I have them all close their eyes and we make this gentle sound, just barely parting our lips. We're not dropping our chin again. So they hear. We really want them to be experiencing this auditory experience and picturing it so that this has all these connections with this memory. Letter Q. So this one can be hard to like pick something that really makes the sound. So I like this one where two ducks are talking to each other and they don't actually say quack. You don't say the whole word. They go quack, 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 quack. Because did you know like so many different languages have different sounds that animals make. So it's okay not to say the whole quack, all right? They just go quack, 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 quack. Letter R, we're gonna watch race cars, we're gonna play with cars, we're gonna picture driving a car and we're going to go, Now here's one thing to think about because when we were running, we were going like this. So I noticed if this looks too similar to this, then they might get confused because sometimes when I'm giving them hints, I need them to see the difference of the hints. So consider that when you're placing your hands. For R, S. So we picture a snake slithering through the grass. And what noise does a snake make when he's mad? He goes, S. Letter T. So we're going to get a clock. We're going to listen to it ticking. It's going to be all about clocks. T, 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 t. Letter T goes t, t, t. Letter U, I'm going to build blocks and I'm going to have a competition with either if I have another teacher and we'll both stand up there with blocks, seeing who can build the fastest and the tallest tower, or I can just use another kid and we build the blocks and then when they fall, I'm upset and I'm sad and so I go, ah! So whenever I'm telling them the U sound, I'll be building blocks and go, ah! And they'll remember U goes, ah! For V, I just hold up the visual for V, but we're talking about vibrating. And I want them to really feel when they put their teeth on their bottom lip that it vibrates. And they shake it, and we might talk about a volcano when it erupts because a volcano starts with V. So we do use some of that to help them think that we're doing as many things to incorporate the letter when we're talking about that letter. So we're talking about when a volcano vibrates and it shakes the ground. And when something vibrates, it makes the sound. Letter W, so I hold up the 3 fingers and we talk about, again, that it looks like a W, right? And when you put it up to your mouth, because you're going to lean forward and you're going to whisper something to somebody and go, wah, wah, wah. Letter X. So my visual for this is different than what we're listening to, but I really like actually using a 2-liter soda. And the very first time you ever open it, you have to have the kids really quiet, and you bring in a 2-liter soda and you twist it open and they hear the X sound. But for the visual, I do this because they're seeing an X and it helps them remember X. So I introduce it like this, but we also at the same time are doing the soda. X. Y. All right, there's some debate over what sound letter Y makes. If you're gonna do the y sound, think of something yucky, like you've got something yucky on your hand and you're trying to shake it off. Y. Some people also say, like there's this one that I follow in particular, and she talks about ye, that it actually goes ye, because yarn, yarn. And so I read a book about a yeti, and what sound does a yeti make? It goes ye. And so the yeti makes these ye sounds throughout the book. And so a yeti, when when you meet a yeti, it'll go ye. All right, Z, in this book, they do a bumblebee, but I do not like to do the bumblebee because that also makes the kids think of the letter B, B, and I found that it confuses them because they're thinking B. So I don't want to confuse the kids, so I nix bumblebee. You might talk about it once the day of. You can talk about different things that go zzz, like the saw and the bumblebee, but my reminder is a zipper, and we actually do a zipper up and down when we're doing it the first day. And so for Z, Z. All right, so now I'm gonna go through and I'll just do them all really quickly, one more time through, so that if you want to go back and just have a reminder, you can go to this part in the video. A says, ah. B says, b, b. C says, k, k. D says, d, d. E says, eh. F says, f. G says, g, g, g. H says, h, h, h. I says, I, I, I. J says, j. K says, k, k. L says, o. M, N, O, P, 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 Q, qua, 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 qua. R, S, S, T, 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 U, V, W, W, X, X, Y, Y, Z, Z. So if you enjoyed this video, check out others, and I'm going to have reading tips and games on here, but also a big focus on my channel Readgab is book recommendations for kids. So if you need book recommendations, then check out some of these videos. Please subscribe to the channel, take a second to like the video, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye.